All right, see if anybody comes in. It's a scorcher. Move this rod. All right, I don't know if anybody's gonna come in or not. There's a lot of people live right now. I didn't advertise this. I just come out here at spur of the moment. Had to do some rod repair. What's up, Chris? What's up? Straight to the point. Sorry, I do things sporadically sometimes. I actually had to come out here and do some rod repair, and I figured I'd go live for a few minutes and just joke around and shoot the crap with everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Yeah, I got a few rods I got to rebuild. This one I'm rebuilding for my son. This is a traditional, the true ugly stick. This thing's 25, almost, well, probably closer to 35 years old. It took me months to even find a top guide for this thing because it is so big. This is the saltwater one used for catching marlin and shark. It actually belonged to my mother before she passed away. She left it to me. I gave it to my son. I wanted to go all out when I redid this rod because it did belong to my mother. I wanted to customize it, you know, do a whole bunch of stuff to it like I do all my rods. But he's asked me if I can keep it more traditional. You know, he still wants the black and the red and the guides and everything. So we're going to do that. This rod has been through everything. It's been to like 6 different states, used in saltwater, freshwater. It's caught every kind of fish you could think of, from my mother and my stepfather catching 4-foot barracuda in the ocean on it, to they caught a small black-tipped shark on it, to blues, channels, flatheads, a little bit of everything has been caught on this rod. But unfortunately, being 35 years old, it has seen better days. It is, like I said, it's a traditional ugly stick, one of the very first, like 30-something years ago. Solid fiberglass, so it will not break. But all the guides are broke. I mean, they're all missing. Let me get this flipped around here. All the guides are missing all the inserts. They're just shot. I ordered some guides. I actually got the same kind of guides that they use on the whisker seekers. Let me see if I can find them. I think I got them up here somewhere. So I ordered some heavy duty guides for it. I probably won't be putting the guides on it tonight because, as you can see, I mean, I don't know how well y'all see it in the camera, but there's a bunch of nicks and chunks in it. So I'm gonna redo some fiberglass work. Today I just decided I'm gonna go ahead and take the eyelets off, mark it. I got some heavy duty eyelets to put on it, some guides. They're the heavy duty ones like they use on whisker seeker rods. So I think they'll fare and hold stronger than the original guides that was on there. I have matched them up. They're almost identical. It's the same size. I am going to try to do something different with this rod. When this rod was purchased and made, it actually only had 4 guides, including the top eye guide. There was only 4 guides. So casting capabilities, because it was made for using off of a boat and everything. So well, that's cool. Straight to the point. That's cool. I'm trying to keep up with y'all's comments. Sorry if y'all see me sweating. It is hot. It's like 100 degrees in the cat cave. I gotta get air conditioning put in here. I've got one. Yeah, I am going to be doing Actually, what got me, to be honest with y'all, is I love custom things. My cars, my bikes. I mean, I'll give y'all a view real quick, even though my cake's a little messed up, but I'll give you a view of what kind of stuff I like. To be custom, one of a kind, and original. Uh, but I went on a channel coming from Japan, and I was watching a guy custom build rods, and I was going to start custom building rods myself, and started looking for blanks. And when I went on there, I was watching his site. He went all out with it. He started with the blank. He wrapped it from the bottom all the way to the top with one color. He put in his guide colors. He put in gold leafing. I mean, these rods was just beautiful. What's up, David? Welcome to the stream. Hope I don't miss any of your comments or anything. Right now, I'm staring at the screen. It's kind of hard to see comments. I might actually open up my other phone to where I can see the comments better so I don't miss any of y'all's comments. If I do, I apologize. Now on, all my lives are going to be like this again, where, I mean, the camera's not as good facing forward like it is. But my last live, I went out when I was out fishing. I missed a lot of people's comments. I even missed a few people coming in, and I don't do that. Usually, when I'm live, I'm straight in the face, people's face while I'm talking to them. I want to be interactive with people. Using on another phone like I did the other day on my live, I wasn't as interactive with people as I like to be. So we're going to go back to the original method. Video quality might be a little bit less, but it is what it is. But I was talking about, I wanted some custom rods, and I watched this guy. What's up, Ernie? I watched this guy custom build these rods from ground up. He put gold leafing in them. These rods are just so beautiful, and I wanted some. So it took me about a month to contact this gentleman, and I asked him, I'm like, how much would it cost me? Of course, it's in Japan. How much would it cost me to get you to custom build me a rod? I know it's going to cost me a lot to ship because it's going to be a 7.5 foot rod. We figured it up. He was actually pretty cool with me. The rod, to have it built, not to ship it, because shipping it was going to cost about $200 by itself, because going overseas, one piece rod. The rod itself was going to cost me about $1,800. So in total, after shipping and everything else, you're talking almost between $2,000 and $2,100 for one rod. I can't do that. I don't know too many fishermen out there that can. Yes, I like to have my cool stuff because, I've always been a gizmo gadget person, but I can't see me doing, $2,000, $2,100 for one rod. And the bad thing about it is I wanted the extra heavy rod, and he informed me that their extra heavy compared to ours is like our medium heavy. So basically, it would be a waste of time. All right, Chris, thanks for stopping in. But yeah, it'd been a waste of time to buy a rod for $2,100 that wouldn't hold up to anything that I do. So I decided what I was going to do is I'm going to wind up buying my own rods if I have to, because I'd rather have a whisker seeker, a Muddy River flathead rod, or something like that I know is going to hold up. And that's what got me, because I went to order a blank. And the blank that I went to order, the quality was even just half of what the Muddy River rod is. And just the blank alone to build my own rod was going to cost me close to $300. I'm like, I'm not spending that much money to buy just the blank. I'm not going to spend $500 just to build the rod when I can, and it's going to be half the quality of what I can already buy pre-made. So instead, I decided, you know what? I'll buy me some decent rods that I like the quality of, and I'll just customize them myself. So that's what we're going to do now. Tonight, I just figured I'd come in and say hi to everybody. I'm going to start stripping these guides off here. That way I can get ready because I've got to sand this. I've got to throw some epoxy in it because there's some nicks and stuff in it. Got epoxy, well, not epoxy, but fiberglass resin it. Get it back to, like new standards. I want to make sure it's going to stay holding up. Like I said, I wanted to go all out with this rod, but my son, I gave it to him, and his choice was to keep it with the red and the black guides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it with the red and black guides. It does have some gold trim in it. I'm going to put the gold trim back in. I wanted to do some gold leafing and stuff in it, but he said no. So we're just going to keep it the way it is. Just going to restore it back to factory with a lot better guides is what we're going to do. But it does only have, it come factory with only 4 guides. I'm going to actually measure it out, mark the guides where they're at now. And then I'm going to try to see if I can't, when I take these guides off, if I cannot remeasure it, check the bend and everything else from the top part to find out if it's possible to put a 5th guide. Because I actually have 4 guides right here, not counting the top guide, because I just replaced the top guide on here with a heavy duty guide. I still got to wrap it, but the rest of the guides had to replace. And I actually have, 4 guides now to where I can make this have 5 guides, which would probably cast a lot better than the 4th guide on it. So I'm going to measure it out, check the bend, make sure it's not going to interfere. But I've only done this about 6 or 8 times, about 6 to 8 times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to sit here. Let me turn on my other phone. Make sure my YouTube is down. Make sure all my stuff's down. I'm going to turn on my other phone so I don't miss y'all's comments because I'm so far away from the screen. I don't want to miss anybody's comments. I probably won't get too many people in here tonight because there's a lot of people live. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I just wanted to come out and joke around with everybody and just have a good time. Try to do some rod repair. Maurice, what's up, brother? See, that's why I put this other one up here so I don't miss anything. Because I probably wouldn't have seen poor old Maurice come in. All right, let me get me something to put behind. Now, in fact, I'll use my tape for a minute. I'm about to use it here in a second, though. Let me see here. I'm going to show y'all what I'm going to do. I'm going to zoom down a little bit more to where y'all can see what I'm actually doing here. All right. Bring the camera down a little bit. Y'all can see better. All right, what I'm going to do with it, I've got this junk table that I'm using right here. This is really, JB just posted he's coming to Kentucky. He ain't coming to Kentucky without coming to seeing me. I'm promising that. All right, what I'm going to start off doing, let me find something to hold my phone actually, that way I can use the tape that I'm about to use. This is an old junk table. I got a little folding table that I just keep in the garage in case I need to work on anything. I'm going to take this packing tape, and I'm going to stretch it from one side to the other. Just make me a reference point, basically. That way I ain't got to write on the table, which I really don't care about this table, but it is what it is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this rod butted up against on the table, up to the, I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Let me see if I can move things. I'm in the process of making me a rod wrapper, but until then, I'm using jack stands. They actually work pretty good, actually. But I'm gonna butt it up here against like this, to where the butt's touching. I got me a magic marker back here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark where these guides go. That way I have a reference point in case I had to put them back where they were at. Right to the middle. If I cannot put them back where, put more in where I want to put them in at, basically. All right. So now we got that done. Put it back up on my makeshift rod wrapper, which, like I said, works real good, actually. It spins pretty good. I got to put some felt in there if I was going to keep it that way, but all right. So now what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to strip the guides off here. I don't know how well this is going to go. What's up, Big Slim? I honestly don't know how good this is going to go. These guides, like I said, this rod is 35 years old. And these are the original guides and the original wraps. Neighbors are firing off fireworks, y'all. Sorry. These are the original guides and original wraps, so they might not come off too well, but we're going to try. I got me an X-Acto kit. I keep these handy. I've got like 65 different blades for it. That way I know I can get into things. What I'm going to do is first, I'm going to start trying to heat it up. Burnside, what is up, brother? Glad you can make it in. We're talking rod repair and customization right now. I'm going to try to heat this up. There's not much epoxy left on it, to be honest. It has basically 35 years has trashed this rod. But to make it easier to cut through, I'm going to try to make sure I heat it up a little bit, which you get any coating that's left on there loose to where I can cut it off and unwrap it. So we're going to try to heat it up. I'm just going to use a lighter. You don't want to get it too hot because you don't really want to catch it on fire like I'm doing right now, but it's all good because, like I said, the guides are coming off of it. All right, after you heat it up a little bit, go right underneath the guide right here. Without cutting into the blank or to the rod, you want to cut that guide loose. Just take your time with it, like doing surgery. You don't want to cut into the rod itself because any kind of nicks like that in the rod could make a weak point. You see, since I heated it up, all I got to do is pull it back. Now all that wrap's coming off, which is what we wanted. Now I'm going to take all the wrap off of here, including the under wrap coating, because I need to sand, refill it, sand it. We're going to redo it white again. I've got some white acrylic paint that I use that holds up real well. I've got some epoxy to put over it so it'll hold up real well. We're going to put it back to factory settings, basically. Got some rod tips that need to be repaired. That's an easy repair. It honestly is, Eric. I'll probably do that one in my next video because I've actually got about, over here in this corner, I've got about 7 rods, including what used to be my favorite. I'll go ahead and pull it out real quick. Used to be my favorite go-to rod. Some of you in the live stream will know why. I used to use this rod every day. This was my main go-to. A lot of you guys in there will know why, because I'm an old-time fisherman. So, you know, ProCat was known for quality. But if you look, that top guide's shot. So I've got to redo that one too. I ordered a guide for it because finding guides for some of these rods is hard. That's another thing. When buying the guides, good luck on buying guides. I went to every rod building company I could find, Mud Hole, all of them, looking for stuff to custom build these rods. And the problem I come up with was when it comes to catfish rods, saltwater rods, they don't carry nothing. I've contacted 4 different companies looking for top guides that'll fit. You know, this is a saltwater rod. This is not no joke, little bitty baby rod. The guide on there is huge. The first guide I put on here was a roller guide because that's all I could find big enough. You know, so what's up, Chad? So yeah, Randall, what's up, brother? So yeah, finding the guides for them is kind of hard. I actually got lucky when I found these guides. I found these on eBay, believe it or not. I think I paid $10 for them. It was a set of 10, but most of them are going to be bass size rod tips guides. So I said, you know what? I'll just keep them. I'll use them for something later on. But these are the heavy duty guides. These are the same ones that they use on the Whisker Seeker rods, the heavy duty ones. So I figured they'd hold up stronger than these cheap rods that was originally on guides that was originally on this rod. I got 10 of these for I think it was like $12. Wasn't that bad? I did order me some gold ones for one of my rods because I'm doing a custom rod. It's going to be a set where it's going to take us probably 5 or 6 lives to get it completed. And I'll have to do a lot off the camera because I'm going to probably spend about 45 hours on that rod because I wanted something that is so nice that you won't want to use, but I'm going to use it anyway. Gotta stay hydrated. Of course, caffeine dehydrates you, but you gotta have my Monster. And for some reason, I'm lagging on my live over here on this side. All right, I think we're caught up now. Close to it. All right, so I'm gonna finish stripping this guide off. I'm gonna do this with all the guides. That way I can get them broke loose so I can start sanding on this thing. Like I said, you gotta be careful. Make sure you do not cut into the rod. You don't want to leave any weak spots to it. This one is so old, I might be able to just pull it out and then cut the rest of it out later. Guess not. You got to give them that. It was definitely in there. Soften all this up real good. I'm actually going to scorch this one like I did the last one because it cut pretty easy. All right. You want to go along this line, seam of this guide. Just go ahead and cut this out without cutting into the rod itself. You just peel it back. It all peels right on off. Then you got your guides off. That is what's left of that guide. It has been bent 5 or 6, 7 times maybe. Yeah, it's not in good shape. The guide's insert's gone, missing. Been missing for about 2 years. So we've still been using it this way. It's been still working. But now I'm going to carefully cut through the rest of this, and I do mean carefully, to try to peel all this back. I want to take it all off as much as I can to get to the undercoating. This red is also thread, so I got to take all of this off. So I'm going to try to cut into that without cutting into the actual rod, where I can peel it back very carefully. Put very little pressure, so I don't cause any weak points. Heat it up some more. Now I have found, I ordered, y'all talking about repairing stuff. Palm Predator, what's up, brother? Y'all was talking about wrapping, doing guides and everything, and rewrapping them. I have found, I ordered some guide repair thread, and I have found that using upholstery thread is stronger. It actually has probably about a 2-pound, maybe even 3-pound stronger strength, tensile strength to it. So I've been using upholstery thread for it. And I actually got I think it was a 3,000 yard spool of a gold upholstery thread. So that's what I'm going to be using mostly on my rods because I want them to shine. So we've got gold upholstery thread that we're going to be using. And like I said, I'm actually going to take this blade and I'm going to angle it. I don't know if y'all can see me angle it or not. I'm going to try to cut into this without cutting into the blank or into the rod itself, is what I'm trying to do. I'm just scraping across the top without cutting any nicks into it. This is going to be a long, tedious process probably because this stuff is so old and fragile. Me getting it off in one piece is impossible. Some of the newer rods, you can get them off. You just heat them up. Sunfish, what's up, brother? Yeah, some of them you could just heat up one time and on the newer rods, and they'll just come straight off. I might have to take this off in layers so I don't have to apply too much pressure. And I'm guessing once I get down here underneath of this wrap, you should be able to see the difference in the rod as far as color wise on how worn this rod is. Because in the screen, it doesn't show real well. Like I said, that's if I can get all this off. This is a lot of work when you got an old rod like this, because you've got years and years of abuse with the epoxy drying, dry rotting. getting crispy, but it's starting to come loose. Nicked a hair right there, but I don't think I did too bad of a job. I don't feel no gouges, so that's good. I'm not worried about the paint because I got to refill some of this anyway. But I'm going to try to keep from cutting into. I'm holding my blade at an angle to scrape to where I don't cut into it as much as possible. I'm just going a few layers at a time. As soon as I see the white layer underneath of it, I'm going to stop and call it good. And then we're going to try to see if we can unwrap it. This is a long, tedious process, but when you got a rod like this, it's, you know, you do not want to get rid of because it's something special to you. It's worth all the work. I would spend probably 60, 70 hours on this rod if my son would let me, just because it was my mother's. My mother passed on in '99. She left me all of her fishing gear because she was a diehard fisherman like me. And I don't have much of her gear left. Some of it got pulled in the river. Some of it got broke. Some of it was stolen. This is probably the only rod I have left that belonged to her. And I was trying to keep her grandson, which she helped raise for the first 5 or 6 years of his life. I was trying to keep him in the loop with his grandmother. So I wanted him to have the rod. I'd rather him have it than me. And I apologize again for the neighbors. They're firing off fireworks. I don't know if y'all can hear that in the background or not. I'm pretty sure you can. That's what I was telling my wife the other day. She's like, says about me going live and doing things. And I told her, I'm like, you know, I don't get to do anything because there's so much commotion in this house. I've got 10 people living here with us, my kids and everything. So if I say I'm going live, they'll come. As soon as I go live, they'll come out here and beat on the door. Say, hey, what are you doing? So I'm going to actually make a light. From, like, I used to have a recording studio from back when I was doing music, which I'm still doing my music. I just got to find somebody to make my beats. I've been rapping for 35 years. So the guy that used to do my beats, we had a falling out. So now I don't have anybody to make beats for me. But in my studio, I had a light that came on. Oh, I think I just broke my blade. That come on that said live recording, do not enter. Let's see what you say, Tom. My grandmother was my biggest fishing minion growing up. That's good though. That's good, Sunfish. I mean, I'm guessing that the bad thing is I'm guessing she's passed on because the way you was worded in context. But being out with your family members, your grandmother, your grandfather, your mother, father, those bonds, those are things that you cannot ever forget. Me and my mother did not get along. I don't sugarcoat it with anybody. She was my mother, so I love her. And when she passed away, it did something to me that I didn't think would ever happen. But when I was growing up, my mother was an alcoholic. She was abusive. She put me on the streets when I was 11 years old the first time. She shot guns at me. So yeah, we didn't get along a lot of that time. But towards the end of her days, because she got cancer, I gave up my apartment, moved back in. My stepfather asked me to move back in with him to help her take care of her, even though she didn't want me there. For 2 weeks straight when she was sick. What's up, Hooks? For 2 days or 2 weeks straight while she was sick, I had to sit on the steps to where she didn't see me to watch to make sure she didn't fall, because if she saw I was in the house, she would go ballistic. She would scream to the top of her lungs, hollering and screaming at me to leave. But I couldn't. I was there for her. Even though she didn't want me there, I wasn't leaving her. But yeah, it's memories like that, that you can't get back. They're always great to have. See, I'm just the same way, Sunfish. I lost my father when I was 13 years old. I lost my mother in '99, so I think I was 28. Pretty much all my family members have passed on, all my aunts, uncles. I think I've got 2 aunts, one uncle left and maybe one or two cousins. Well, actually, the cousins are building back up. I actually have probably 25 of them now because my one aunt that I have, she's got a bunch, got some kids, and they, uh, they, we've already connected this month. This month we've reconnected, so it's good. They're talking about wanting us to go out and do some fishing together and everything. So it might be a good thing. I really miss my family. You know, I live with my wife and her family pretty much. I got all her kids and my kids here, which makes it impossible to do anything. That's why I don't go live that often. That's why I don't go fishing as much as I should between when I am working, because right now I'm still on medical leave. I hope I haven't lost my job. But, been on medical leave, so I haven't had the chance to do anything. But between working, taking care of the family, and everything else, which is the most important, I don't get time to do much. So when I do, I go sporadic. I'm like, hey, I got an hour, 2 hours. I'm gonna go live, talk to everybody, joke around, you know. And just as I was afraid of, this stuff is so dried out that it does not want to come off. And this is just one of many rods that I've got to rebuild. I honestly have a bunch of rods I've got to rebuild. And they're all older rods like this. I've got one behind me, I think it's still, yeah, it's back there. Belonged to my brother-in-law. We was talking about it last night when I was in Snake River stream while I was catching sturgeon. I don't know if y'all all checked out Snake River or not. I'm pretty sure y'all have. If not, go check him out. He's awesome. Landed a monster sturgeon last night. But here in Kentucky, all we get is gar, blues, channels. We got some sturgeon in certain parts of Kentucky, but you got to go out there and, you know, really find out where they're at, which is usually in like Western Kentucky and stuff like that, way up, about 2 hours from me. And right now I'm still working on my vehicles to try to get them up and running. I've been working on them nonstop for about a month and a half now, trying to get me a reliable vehicle. I was a mechanic for almost 30 years and my body won't let me do it anymore for a living. So now I decided that, you know, the only vehicles I'm working on is my own. But I'm trying to get one that's going to be reliable to do stuff. I've been waiting to hook up with Lee Evans. He's been wanting to hook up for like 6 months now, or well, at least 5 months. And every chance he gets to go out, he contacts me and he asks me if I want to go, or he'll post a thing on Facebook asking if anybody wants to go. And a lot of those days I'm off work, I just don't have a reliable vehicle. You know, it's an hour drive to get out there to meet up with him. And I don't have a vehicle that'll make it that far, just to be honest. My truck has what they call death wobble. I know some of you may know what that is. My truck has death wobble at 35 miles an hour. Of course, when you lift a truck 4 inches and put 32-inch mud tires on it, it's going to have death wobble, you know. So I can't even take it on the expressway. All right, I'm getting some of this off. Like I said, this is going to be a long, tedious job. You see what I'm working with right now. I'm slowly getting it down where I need to. But I got a funny feeling it's going to take quite some time to do it. Heck, I might not get it all done in this live. But I'm going to get as much done as I can. So I can get it done. Because I've still got to get all this off. I've got to sand this rod down, do the fiberglass repair. Now, what I do for my fiberglass repair, you can get a fiberglass resin, and that's what I've been using. It's like almost like an epoxy, but it's for fiberglass. And what I will do is if there's any nicks that I don't feel safe about, I will actually sand it down, and I'll take that fiberglass resin, like there's a nick right here. It's not real deep, but that could be a possible weak point. And I've noticed that if I do the epoxy repair with the fiberglass resins, it does put strength back in these areas. I didn't think it would, but if anybody was in my last stream, the orange rod I've got that I was using, it literally had chunks missing out of it. I didn't think the rod would hold together. I epoxy resin or fiberglass resin it back together, put a good coating on it, and it held up pretty good. I mean, I tried to abuse it, and it's holding up pretty good. So I'm going to epoxy coat this with some fiberglass resin, resand it. We're going to redo it with a white base coat. I'm going to come back in, put the new guides on it. The only thing that won't be there is the original label, which you can't even see. I mean, it's pretty much gone anyway. I mean, this rod, like I said, has been through the ringer. It's 35 years old. It has seen more abuse than most rods out there. So the only thing that won't be on here then is the logo, because I'm going to sand it down, do some fiberglass work to it. We're going to rewrap the new guides on here. Like I said, it started off originally only had 4 guides, including the top eye guide. I'm going to try to go with 5. I'm going to try to see if I can't squeeze an extra one on here, see if I get better casting capability. If I can't, I'll go back to the original 4 that was on there. But we're going to paint it white. We're going to put the guides back on it. I'm going to rewrap it with the red, the black, and the gold. Actually, I thought about going with red, black, and chrome, take the gold out of it. Since the guides are chrome, I think the gold would kind of be a little, it might clash a little bit having the gold in there with the chrome. How's it going, Carping Down Under? Glad you can make it in, brother. Right now, we're trying to take these old guides off this rod. This rod's at least 30 years old, probably 35 years old. So it's a saltwater rod. It's the original ugly stick made for saltwater, for fishing off of a boat. So all the guides are tore off of it. It was belonged to my mother, so we're going to rebuild it. I wanted to customize it to the max, but my son, since I gave it to him, he said he wants it back to the original. So we're going to wrap it with the red, black, but we're going to use chrome instead of gold. Put some new guides on it. Actually, I might come back to this part right here because I'm been in here for a while doing this, and it is not wanting to do nothing. I don't want to torch it too much, but and I don't want to use any chemicals if I don't have to. They do have a chemical stripper for this epoxy, but I really don't like using chemical strippers. I honestly don't. I believe there's a chance that it can weaken the fiberglass. I mean, heating it too much can weaken it also, but not as much as the chemicals, I believe, because the chemicals are made to eat through everything. So it'll eat through the thread, the fiberglass. I missed that comment, Carpin. Did I have runner guides? No, I actually didn't have the runner guides. When I first got it, just had a regular guide on it. When my mother bought it brand new, these guides are so hard to find, especially this top guide, because this rod is so big a rod. I'll show you the tip of it real quick, Carpin. This is a very thick guide. This is a heavy duty one. This is the strongest one I could find. This one top guide cost me close to $15 just for one top guide that was big enough to fit it. I actually had a roller guide on there with the rollers on it. I took it off because it did not like to cast like that. And I actually had the runner guides with the rollers and stuff. I had them to where I was going to put them all the way down. But after having the problem I had with the top guide, I went ahead and took it off because the line was going in the wheels and getting locked up. And I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want to cast out and get my line tangled and snap my line and lose all my gear. But yeah, right now we're just trying to replace all the original guides on this because it has seen better days after 35 years. My mom bought this down in Florida. Like I said, about 35 years ago, she bought it in Florida, brand new. My stepfather bought it for her because it was in Florida and she wanted to do some saltwater fishing. She wanted to go after some barracuda and some sharks while she was down in Florida. And he bought her a rod that he knew would hold up. And it's held up. It's done. I guess I could safely say there's been over 300 fish caught on this rod. At least 300 fish caught on this rod. So it's held up, did its job, but I can't let it be retired for good because it belonged to my mother. And it's been sitting for about a year now. It took me 4 months to find a top guide big enough. And I finally found one. And then I realized that the other guide was shot. So I figured, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and redo it all. All right. I guess I'm going to come back to that because it's going to take me hours. I'm probably got to get it off the stand and get it close up to where I can actually see it because I'm old. I'm getting blind. How's it going, Becca? Oh, I understand that, Becca. Spend time with them. I bet you they'll be blessed to spend time with you. They're probably excited. Because if you're anything in real life like you are online, yeah, they're lucky to have an aunt like you. I told my wife the other day, I said, on this internet crap, because I'm an old fogey. I don't know any of this internet stuff. I'm just learning it all. And a lot of times when I'm in lives, if it ain't for Becca, I don't think I'd make it through the live. So give me a second. I'm going to find something else to help hold this rod up. Getting a little unbalanced. It's a heavy rod. I mean, this thing's probably 3 pounds, 4 pounds by itself. It's not light. It ain't gonna stay. That's all right. I can always find some way to make it stay. All righty. I got an idea to make it stay. Put a little weight on the end of it. All right. So we're just gonna go ahead and strip this guide off too. For anybody that wasn't in here earlier that's never done this. I mean, this is basic stuff you can find on YouTube 24/7. I mean, there's a lot of channels that show it. But if you haven't seen it done, like I said, just take your lighter, just a little bit of heat. Just all you want to do is heat it up. You don't have to cook it hot. You don't have to burn it or anything else. This is scorching pretty easy. I could probably cut it without heating it because, like I said, there's really no epoxy left. After 35 years of mostly day fishing with this, the sun has wore the epoxies down. But I'm going to heat it up anyway just to make sure I don't have any epoxies left that's going to interfere with me cutting through it, because I do not want to damage the rod. If all possible, as little damage to it as possible. Kick my sandals back off. I'm wearing my daughter's sandals. I can't go anywhere without shoes. I've got missing most of the meat off my feet. Being homeless, when I was homeless, they wanted to amputate my feet because I got an infection in them. So standing on any kind of flooring or ground, even carpet, barefoot, hurts. So, all right, I'm gonna take this at an angle. We're just gonna slowly, softly, I don't want to put too much pressure, just enough to cut through this guide. And I'm gonna try to follow this one all the way out one time without cutting through anything. See if I can't peel it off all at one time. Now, on some of the newer rods, I know you can do that. I've done it before. Go to take a guide off, just go one strip and the whole thing comes back off and it's easy. But of course, that new rod ain't 35 years old. So we're gonna try this. I'm gonna go through real slowly, a couple slices down this side. Let's try to stay in the same location, even though I can't see it to save my life, but without cutting through the rod itself, we're just gonna keep on following the same line. Try to see if we can't break it loose. All right, at an angle, I'm gonna take this up. I'm gonna peel this back. And see, this one's not even doing like the last one. The last one, the guide pieces just come right on off. But these things are so old, they're not even gonna budge. So I'm gonna cut down the guide itself without, there it goes. Let's see if any of the undercoating come off with it. Nope, still got the red undercoating on there, the red threads. All righty. Now I may be able to sand down into those, which will save me a little bit of trouble in the long run. If I can't get them off tonight while I'm sitting here talking and chatting with everybody, I'm gonna probably try that and sand it. My goal is to take all these guides off. I may not remove the top guide since I did just put it on a month ago. I still had to wrap it, so I had to strip all the excess off, but I may not remove it. Also, I want the rod to stay in the same pattern formation it was in, where the bend is in the same. I don't want to reverse the bend. I don't want the guys to be up here this time, and then when I go to put them on this side, where the flexibility is different. You always follow the best way the rod bends. And when it comes to rods like ugly sticks and everything else, even though they have a machine that does it, there's a machine that actually rotates it like this and pushes pressure to find the strongest points. So you kind of really want to put the guides facing the same way they originally were. Even if they're in different locations, if you check your bends, you'll be okay. But you kind of want to try to stay in the same formation that you was in, you know. So I might keep my top guide on there to help line it up to where I know I'm putting them on, you know, dead center. Put a laser on the end of it to where I'm going through it. And you can get your little cheap pinpoint laser from a dollar store, from Walmart, $2 or $3. Ain't gotta be nothing expensive, but it actually can help sometimes. A lot of times I'll use a little cheap laser. I mean, you can eyeball it and pretty much make it work, or use a piece of line, run it through it, and then you can center up your guides that way. But a lot of times I'll just use a little cheap laser, just for the fun of it, because I'm technical. All right, let's see if we can get this one off. All right, we got this guide coming off. All right, there's 2 of the 3 guides I got to take off, but we still got to strip these things. If I get all this tape off, I might be able to get this undercoating off better. But I can see the threads in that. When I take off that, you could I can even feel the threads. You can hear it scrape. That's all threading right there is all that is. But there is an epoxy over top of it, which is making it hard to cut through. I'll have to try to heat it up some more. Like I said, I don't want to use too much heat. And I don't want to use chemicals unless I have to. I do have an epoxy dissolver that will dissolve the epoxy. But I'm afraid, with it being so old of a rod, that it may wind up doing more than just the epoxy. It may eat into the rod. If I can't get it off without it, what I might do is I might put it on there, wipe it immediately, and spray a neutralizer on it to try to protect the rod. But we are getting a lot of this off, which is good. I honestly, believe it or not, I thought it was going to be harder than what it is. I knew it was going to be hard because the rod's so old, but it's actually coming off a lot easier than what I thought it was or would be, even though it's going to take a lot to do it. What I'll probably do is I'll probably try to strip as much of this off on live as I can. And then, I'm only going to be on for about an hour or 2, hour and a half, something like that. But I'll probably try to strip as much of this off as I can. And then I'll get it stripped down like I was talking about doing. I'll have it painted. And I might come back in another live, which I probably will do, and try to go ahead and wrap the guides on there. All right, straight to the point. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you stopping in. Like I said, I wasn't expecting to have anybody in. There's a lot of people live tonight. I didn't expect anybody to go live. I was watching my notifications, because usually if somebody sets up a live and they're going live, I'll get a notification saying at such and such time somebody's going live. apparently a bunch of people did a bunch of spur of the moment lives that they didn't announce because I didn't know anybody was going live. And then sure enough, everybody went live. I think Willie's live. 3+1, I think, is live. So yeah, if nobody stays in here, I understand. I do this for me. I don't really do it for YouTube. I mean, I love having you lovely people with me. It makes my life a lot better, especially sitting here chatting with y'all. Probably some of the greatest things I've done. But there's a lot of people on YouTube right now that just push the fact of, oh, I got to get subscribers. I got to get watch time. And they've only been on YouTube a month or two. And I'm like, take y'all's time, just be friends with everybody. Everything will happen eventually, don't pull a Troy, get out there, do content, do what you're supposed to do, and just be friendly with everybody. Don't disrespect people. That's the main thing. It all come along eventually. I don't have that many subscribers. I think I've been on for YouTube for 6 months, and I think I've got 125 subscribers. I don't care. I appreciate the 125 I got, and I'm happy with that. Because to be honest with everybody, when I first started doing this YouTube thing, I didn't think I'd get more than 10 subscribers. It just is what it is. All right, let me see if I can figure out a different way to do this one because it's going to go high. There we go. That might work. There's always different ways to do things. You just got to find out what works. Like I said, I am in the process of building a rod wrapper, which will make life a lot easier. But until then, you work with what you got. Yes, I understand that, Carp, and that's me. I give everybody, I like everybody, and I try to do things. I don't, there's a lot of times I've thought about going live and see one of my friends on here, go live and say, you know what? I'll wait because my people on there, I want to support them. I'm in it to win it. I'm not here to, become some big YouTube superstar. There's a lot of them out there, but I'm not worried about it. If I ever make it to that status, that'll be great. But if I don't, I'm happy with what I got. Y'all people treat me great. I'm happy and blessed for everyone I do have. I mean, if I wanted to go and get some big time, be some big time YouTuber, I probably could very easy. I've got 3 phones to my that I've got access to. I've got GoPros. I've got underwater cameras, which I haven't taken out yet this year. I've got everything. I mean, I can do it all. I've got drones, but I'm not into it for that. I'm in it to meet new people for the experience. I could go into, like a lot of people do, I can go in and create me, 10 accounts, get myself subscribers, get all my friends, because I've got a lot of friends in real life that I don't associate with as much as I should because, well, let's just face it. I'm an adult. I've got responsibilities. I got kids to take care of, even though they're half grown. I got kids to take care of. I got, responsibilities as an adult. I got a house, the yard's got to be cut. Cars have to be fixed and everything. So it is what it is. But, I can always contact my friends because they don't get on YouTube. They're not YouTubers. They don't like YouTube. Most of them won't even watch a video on YouTube unless they need to learn how to do something. But, I've got 300 of them right now that I could probably convince into signing on to YouTube and becoming a subscriber. But I've told them all the same thing. If y'all want to check me out and subscribe, cool. If you don't, I understand that too. If that's not something you normally do, if you normally don't get on YouTube and you normally don't watch people, I'm not going to try to talk you into it. It's not right. I'm here to make myself feel better about myself and to try to make friends. I suffer with severe PTSD. And right now my health has been declining for the last 2 months. I get severe shakes to where I can't hold anything. Um, I was on medical leave. I might be losing my job because of it, but I'm hoping I don't. I got that one off. I'm hoping I don't. But you know, we're here to make new friends and stuff like that. That's all I'm worried about. I'm just thankful for stuff like YouTube because I've always been I've been fishing for, let's say I've been seriously fishing for almost 35 years. I'm talking where I take it seriously, where I go after trophy fish and everything else for the last 35 years. And my brother-in-law is one of my biggest fishing partners. And we're both adults now. We started off when we were 16 and going after trophy fish. We're both adults now. We live in different locations. I mean, we're still in the same area, but we live in different locations. So it's hard to get out there. A lot of times when I go fishing, I don't have anybody to go with me. So this YouTube thing was great for that because I can get out here and I can chat with you wonderful people, and it makes my day. You know, I can sit on here with one person in the live and be just as happy as having 35 people in the live. As long as it's the right person, as long as it's not a troll, it's somebody I can talk to and, you know, shoot the crap with. I'm cool with that. I am a little bummed about my last live. That's why I decided I'm going to keep this camera going the way it is now, front facing. The quality's a lot less than what it was with the, you know, this camera I'm using is a Stylo 6. I don't like Apple products. I know they got better cameras, but I use like LG products and Samsung products. And I got a LG Stylo 6. The front facing camera is only like a 2 megapixel. The one I'm on now is like a 2 or 3 megapixel camera. It's high definition, but it's only like 2 megapixel. And the rear facing camera is 25 megapixel. So you get a lot better quality using that rear facing camera, but then I don't get to see your comments as well. Like I said, my last live, I missed people coming in. I missed comments. I had a lot of issues trying to get my buddy John in the stream because I was excited about that. I really wanted John in the stream. I haven't been able to do many collaborations because of my health and because of my family, you know, taking care of the family and everything. And so when John was going to come in and do a collab with me, split screen, I was excited about it. And it just got so crazy, it didn't happen. That's how it is, Carp. That's how it is, Carpin. I mean, genuine people is all I'm worried about. And I have found, I'm surprised, I got a lot of friends that do bass fishing. I was supposed to go out doing some bass fishing with them this year, but they're friends, but apparently they're not as the friends that I thought they were because they've left me hanging. But they were supposed to take me out bass fishing and show me the ropes. I mean, I've been bass fishing quite a few times, but not on a serious matter. And most of these people, they take it as serious as I do catfishing. All right, that one's coming apart pretty good. They take it as serious as I do catfishing, if not more serious. And half of them are semi-pro and everything else. But yeah, I really don't care for. I went into the bass fishing community and was talking to a lot of my friends that are in there because some of them are YouTubers also because they are semi-pro. And the bass fishing community is, you know, compared to the catfishing community, you say the wrong word in there and you make 1,000 enemies. 1,000 enemies. They're just, a lot of them are, they're not as genuine as we are. They take it too competitively. Everything is too serious. You can't use the wrong baits. If you use the wrong lures, then they don't want to associate with you. The catfishing community, by far, is the nicest community I found, which is great for me because I'm a diehard cat fisherman. I've been a diehard cat fisherman for 35 plus years. Probably longer than what this rod is, which is as old. I mean, I even got a tattoo right here on the end of my arm right here for catfish. I know y'all can't see it because it's faded. It's that tattoo is close to 20 years old, 25 years old. But yeah, this catfish community is pretty awesome. I like genuine people. And this one's coming out pretty good. All right, let's see if I can get some more of this off here real quick. I've gotten all the guides off that I need to get off. Now it's basically just stripping off the old under wrap and everything like that. It's starting to be to the point to where I don't believe I'm gonna get it all off without scratching the rod up more than what I want to, or without using a chemical compound. So I'm gonna have to figure all that out because I'm not letting myself tear this rod up. The main thing when you're doing stuff like this is just take your time. I mean, I've got some cool stuff going, getting ready to come on in my lives. I told my family, I was like, you know what? If I can't get out and fish, then I'm going to start recording and doing lives, me doing stuff like this because I enjoy stuff like this. I enjoy talking to all y'all people and getting out here. I did order some gold leafing. I can get to it. On one of my rod builds, it's going to be extravagant. These little pieces of gold leafing, and this is little bitty stuff. I mean, itty bitty. But I wanted the good stuff. I didn't want no fake gold. This is all 24 karat gold leafing. 100% 24 karat gold leafing. So that's going to go in one of our rods, along with some gold flake. It's going to have like 6 colors in the wrap. Custom design wraps. Let me see what you say, carp. Let's see here. That's how I feel about the carp industry. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these fishing communities are like that, carp, and I don't understand. I love catching carp. I love catching catfish. I love catching any kind of fish. I'm just, you know, I'll be happy with a half-pound bluegill as long as I'm catching something. And I don't care. I don't judge people. You know, if you prefer a certain kind of fishing over another kind, cool, do it. If you're good at it, that's even better. You know, if you use a lure that catches you more fish than this guy catches with this lure, it's cool. You know, that's what you do. It works for you. It might not work for the next guy. You know, my thing is I don't down anything anybody does or says, as long as they're trying to do it and doing it right. You know, I'm not going to tell you, no, that's wrong. You're doing it wrong. You know, I might give you my advice. You know, if I see you doing something I think that might help you or benefit you, I might give you my advice. If you take it, you do. If you don't, then that's on you. But then again, the advice I give you might not work for your area. You know, there's a lot of negativity out there, and there's a lot of people. Y'all can't even see what I'm doing now. There's a lot of people out there that are tuned more towards the negativity of things than the positive things. You know, I've been catfishing for 35 years, but all the catfishing I've done has been in the Ohio River, little local lakes here in Kentucky, you know. And if you come to Kentucky, I can tell you how to put on them. I can tell you where to go, what baits work the best, what rigs work the best. I could tell you basically I could be a guide if I wanted to be. I mean, I've honestly, you know, I've landed so many fish. I mean, before YouTube, my record blue, or my personal best blue was 101 to 102 pounds. My personal best flathead was 75 pounds. Both of those within 2 or 3 pounds of the state record at the time. I mean, I've been landing these monsters for many years now, along with gar. We've almost broke every gar record there is in Kentucky. Of course, we usually don't turn in our records if we do break one. I mean, my brother-in-law, he hooked into a record gar. We was talking about it a few minutes ago on the phone, laughing about it. Matter of fact, one of the next rods I got to work on is his that he caught that gar on. I think the personal best or the state record long nose gar here is like 40 pounds, might be 42 pounds or something like that. And that's in gar wise. You're looking at 4.5, 5 foot long. Using this rod right here, matter of fact, that I got to rebuild next. And this rod also is 35 years old, or close to 35 years old. This is another saltwater rod. Back when we started catfishing, they didn't make catfish rods. If you wanted anything strong enough to hold up the catfish, you had to go saltwater. See how big that guy is. These rods are no joke. But as you can see, just like with the other rod, it has seen better days. 35 years of pressure has destroyed this rod. It still works good. It's still sound and strong. This is actually a fiberglass / aluminum composite. I don't know how they did that, but you know, they've done it. I mean, to show you how bad it is, you can see the bubbling in the epoxy of the labels. They're just bubbled off. I could pick them off with my fingers. You can hear it crunch. That's what's left of the epoxy. It's been out in the sun and used so much. But with this rod right here, we were standing on a dock that was no wider than the table I'm using, which is about 2.5, maybe 3 foot wide, if that. And this guard come underneath the dock, and we're used to seeing them come underneath the dock. We'll sit there and hang our feet over, and we'll catch them that way. And this guard come by, and at first we thought it was just his nose. I mean, thought it was the whole guard, but then we realized a few minutes later that was just his beak. Because a long-nosed gar, their beak is about half the length of almost half the length of their body. So we realized that this gar was probably close to 6 foot long, biggest gar we ever seen. About, I say, almost big around as a telephone pole. So he was pretty good size. I say about 12 inches around or something like that. He's pretty good size. And I pulled my feet up off the dock, off the water, put them on the dock. My younger brother was out there with us, and he did the same. And then I looked at my brother-in-law. I said, dude, you might want to reel your bait in. I said, because you hook into that gar, it's going to be bye-bye, buddy. And he decides he's going to reel his baits in, but him being him, because he's a little wilder than, or we used to be a lot wilder than, all of us did, but he was a little wilder back then. He said, no, I'm going to catch that gar. And I'm like, yeah, right. So he took the metal out of a cigarette pack. I don't know if I still got the metal in mine or not. And I took it out, but the metal flap that goes off of this, he threw it on his hook and threw that out in front of the gar, where they like shiny stuff. This gar grabbed that rod, and he almost went off the dock. He had to sit down on the dock. My other brother had to sit down basically with his legs wrapped around my brother-in-law to keep him from flying in the water. This gar was pulling that hard. It took us almost, and this gar, when he hooked into him, was only 15 to 20 foot away from him. It still took us almost 30 minutes to land this gar, to get it up to the bank, to the dock where we was at, and get it up on the dock. And even though we knew it was a state record, we just let it go and just went on with it. Because the point of what we was doing was just to have fun with it. Now that I've gotten older, I've learned to respect things and respect the animals better, the fish better. I caught a 70-pound flathead, happened to be albino. Never seen an albino flathead since. My greatest catch of all times. And I'm glad that the gods felt that I should be riding a bike that day instead of driving a car, because if I wouldn't driving a car that day, I would have took that fish home with me. He would have went to a taxidermy, and I would have had him stuffed. Now that I'm older and I realize the things that I realized, I'm glad I didn't do it. I'm lucky that I was on a bike that day and didn't take that fish home, because I would have killed that fish just for pure to show it off. Instead, I let it go. We watched it swim back out, so I know it was still alive. And he's probably still out there, because I'm pretty sure if anybody else would have caught him, it had been in the papers. Because I've never seen a flathead that big that's albino. But, we're talking 25, 30 years ago when we started fishing heavily. Back then, the only cameras we had was Polaroids. So we don't have proof of anything. So I don't count them anymore. Since I started YouTube, you know, I still find the pictures. I've got them buried in stuff in storage right now. One day I'll probably pull them out and try to show everybody. Yeah, I feel a lot better about myself that way, Corbin. I honestly do. But yeah, I mean, I went ahead and reset all my PBs to where we could start back over. That way, y'all can join the hunt with me, and y'all get to see everything I see and everything. I don't count a fish that's not caught on live or caught on video. I had a contest the other day. Matter of fact, I need to announce the winners of that. I had to shut the stream down because for some reason my battery banks was not working. But I had my glow in the dark rods out. Well, not glow in the dark. I got ill wire rods. For anybody that couldn't make it into that stream, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about real quick. My last stream out, I had 4 rods that I ran from ill wire. I don't know what to do with it. Oh, there it is. So the whole rods light up. I don't know if you can see it light up or not. It might be able to see it. Yeah. So the whole rod lights up. Actually, this was going to be the first rod we worked on tonight. I had to get off the stream because my battery was going dead and my power bank wasn't charging my phone for some reason. So I had to wind up leaving the stream, so I didn't get to announce the winners or anything. Less than 20 minutes after I got off that stream, that rod bent over so far I thought I was going to lose it. I almost lost it in the stream. Anybody that didn't go in and see that video, if they want to check it out, see a massive takedown, and see somebody that is basically, how would you put it, passionate about the sport, go watch that video. It's called We're Going to Try This, because I went out, worst conditions, flooded waters, was casting over top of trees to get out in the water, had to climb out in a tree. And I shouldn't even be walking right now. My body is so badly messed up. Get severe shakes. I don't try to go anywhere by myself. I had to climb out in a tree, hang upside down over the water. You can't really see all of it very well because it's dark, but you can see some of it. You can see the headlamp, my headlamp shining through the bottom of the tree roots. I had to climb out there in the tree and cut a branch in half, one of the roots of the tree that was underwater, in half with a flaying knife to get the fish free. But yeah, it was an epic night. We didn't catch any monsters, but it was a great night. Massive takedown. A buddy of mine said something about maybe even trying to nominate the takedown for Golden Whiskers or whatever for the takedown of the year. I told him to do it. I doubt he will. If anybody else decides to do it, they're more than welcome to. But yeah, it's a great video. If you want to check it out, to see the takedown and me climbing the tree, which is probably 20 minutes of me in this tree trying to save this fish's life. All you have to do is go into the video. It's going to be 3 hours and 11 minutes in. 3 hours and 11 minutes in the live, and that's when the guy gets the massive takedown. I get 12 to 14 takedowns like that in live. We lost about 25 fish. Even after I got off the live, the rods just would not stop bending. I mean, it was nonstop action as far as, you know, the Ohio River is not like it is the Potomac. It used to be. I used to go on the Ohio River and catch 35 fish a night. What is up, brother? Let's see. Don't know how to pronounce your name. Off Heath. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. If not, welcome anyway. I don't think I've ever seen you in here. Oh, okay. So you're on your daughter's account. I understand that, brother. I understand that. Yeah. California does have some catfish. I've got some friends down there, but they said, I don't know. I've never been to California. Well, I've never officially been to California because I'm banned out of California. But I've heard they don't have many big cats down there, but y'all do have a lot of other great fish to catch. Uh, some of them more interesting than catching catfish, you know, honestly. You know, y'all got ocean and stuff where y'all can catch some sharks, you know, not sturgeon, but, you know, sharks, barracuda, they're fun to catch. The only saltwater fish I've ever caught is barracuda. My shark fishing. What is up, Austin? What's up, brother? Glad you can make it in. We're just talking about you a minute ago. Well, we was talking about the winners of the last stream. I was getting ready to announce what was going on with that. Right now, we're doing rod repair. This is a 35-year-old original saltwater ugly stick. Belonged to my mother. She bought it brand new about 35 years ago. I gave it to my son. All the guides are messed up, and I mean, all the guides were broke. This was the best guide on there, and it's not much left of it. The other guides all look like this. The inserts are missing. They've been bent, twisted, you know. So I'm going to restore it back to factory settings, like you would a computer or something. And I was just talking about the winners. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised, all. Or Javon. Did you say your name was Javon? Let's see here. Avir? Is that how I pronounce it? Avir? You'd be surprised. There's a lot of fish. The last time I was in Florida, I got to fish. The only amount of saltwater fishing I ever got to do was literally from the beach, and I got to fish a total of 35 minutes. Matter of fact, the rod I've got in my hand is the one I was using. Okay, over here. All right. Sorry, I can't read real well. I am pretty much illiterate. So if I mispronounce your name, I apologize. Javier just said I was pronouncing it right, or at least close enough to where he's not offended, which is all that matters to me, because I don't want to offend him, and that you great people that come in and see me. But yeah, when I was in Florida, I got to fish for a total of 35 minutes in salt water. I don't even count it as fishing. Honestly, don't. If anybody ever asks me, have you ever went salt fish, water fishing? Nope. Because 35 minutes is, to me, I spend more time catching bluegill than I did out there. But I did land one 4-foot barracuda, and I can promise you, they fight. Plus, I do believe y'all have one of the best fish to catch in the world in California. Because I do believe y'all still have a heavy population of grouper down there. And that is a bucket list fish for me. Because my goal in life is always to be to catch a grouper. Yes, Goliath grouper. Yes, sir. That's exactly right, Austin. I've got a bucket list. You know, I'm old as dirt. I am old as dirt. I'll be 50. I'll be 49 this year. My health's been declining for the last few months, real bad and real fast. Severe shakes, lightheadedness, dizziness. I had to get off stream last night. Austin was in there, and I called him Justin because my meds had kicked in. I couldn't even read anything. But yeah, I've got a bucket list now. After I lost in 2020, I literally lost close to 35 people in 2020, friends and stuff that I grew up with. And they made me reevaluate everything. Let's see if I can't scrape this stuff off a little bit. Hopefully it don't get too annoying for y'all. But it seems to be coming off better that way. We can it up some. But yeah, I started looking at life differently. And I started putting my bucket list together. And since I've always been wild and crazy already, and I've done so many things in my life, . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Oh, I believe it, Big Slim. And just like Lucifer from Snake River, I skipped leg day. I literally skipped leg day. So yeah, I wish it was Dr. Feel Good Meds off. Yeah, it's not. I've got severe PTSD to the point to where they've been wanting me medicated for the last 40 years. I developed PTSD when my parents threw me out when I was 11. They was very abusive. I got scars. That's one of the reasons why I wear a mustache. I can't stand mustaches. I can't stand eating hair. And trimming it down don't work. I can trim it down. The next day, it's back to in my mouth it goes. But yeah, my parents were very abusive alcoholics. I've got scars on my lips where my father's cut my lip open with butcher knives, uh, and everything. So when I was like 14 or 15, I was diagnosed with severe PTSD. The counselor that I seen was actually one that worked at the VA hospital and worked with the veterans. And his exact words were, I've seen war vets come back and have less PTSD and suffer with less things than you suffered with. And they wanted to medicate me, and I wouldn't let them do it. I avoided it. I'm like, I'm not being medicated. I like watching shows like The Walking Dead, but I don't want to be in the cast. You know, I like to know what I'm doing, you know. And yeah, Austin, I had a rough life. I've actually had friends that wanted to make a screenplay because they do low budget films, and they wanted to do a screenplay about my life because it was so epic. I mean, me and my mother-in-laws had shootout. Me and my mother, myself, and when I'm rebuilding this rod, she shot at me in the house 4 times. Luckily, she can't name worth crap. I would have been all right anyway. I've been shot 3 times anyway. Been shot 3 times, stabbed twice. But she was shooting at me with a 22, so I've been all right, most likely. But yeah, she shot at me. She put me out when I was 11 years old. It was pretty crazy. But at the same time, it's made me the person I am today. I learned respect for the world that way because when you're out there on the streets, if you don't have respect for everybody around you, you're not going to survive. So I learned to respect everybody and give everybody a chance to do their own thing and, you know, just try to learn from people. And it's actually bettered my life. It's made me the person I am today. I believe I'm a better person because of it. Yeah, I don't talk about it much, Big Slim. I don't. I mean, I can show you scars right now. Had a 22 in my chest right here. I caught a 9mm right here in my wrist. I knocked that knuckle loose. Caught a 22 in my kneecap. I still got the part of the sheathing in there, so I set off a metal detector when I go through. You can see the slight stab wound through the hand. I'm playing cards one day. They stuck a knife through my hand. Thought I was cheating. I wasn't. But, you know, I hung out with some rough people in my life. And I took an ice pick to the stomach. That was pleasant. Walked 5 blocks with an ice pick in my stomach. And was afraid to take it out. Luckily, my neighbor was a nurse because I wouldn't go to hospitals and the doctors. And I got back home and she looked at it. She started feeling around. She goes, well, I don't think it hit anything major. So I yanked it out and I didn't bleed out. So I was like, you know what? We're just going to close it up. Yeah, I've had it rough, man. But you know what? There's people out there that's had it worse than me. That's what I try to tell my daughter. She suffers PTSD too, but her PTSD is a lot more mild than what mine is. I missed a comment here. Oh, that's what you got to do, Austin. You got to. I try to explain that to my daughter. I mean, I buried my stepson 6 years ago. He took his own life because of his depression and PTSD. And I try to explain to my daughter that because she's about to turn 15 and she suffers with PTSD too. Her, not me, but some of her other family has been pretty rude and wicked to her, and it's caused her issues. And I try to explain to her, you have to take the bad things and make them a positive. You cannot make it through life if you don't. And there's always somebody out there that's had a worse life than you do. So just be positive about it. Just move on. It's not worth stressing over. The more you stress it, the worse off you are, you know? And that's what I try to do. Luckily, my wife, the woman I'm with right now, we've been together. I just missed our anniversary. Well, we both missed our anniversary a few days ago. It was the 10th of June. We missed our anniversary. We both missed it. So thank God for that, because I probably never lived that down. And yeah, I'm like, I try to tell my daughter, just live with it, just deal with it. Just if it's something you could brush off, just brush it off your shoulders and just be good with it, Somebody's always had it worse than you do, and just take it for what it is. It's a learning experience. And I've gotten to see a lot of good things. I can't say everything I went through in my life was bad. Even when I was homeless, I got to see some good things. For 6 months straight, I was living in a place that's considered the most haunted building in the world, Waverly Hills Sanitarium. I don't know if any of y'all ever heard of it or not. It's here in Louisville, Kentucky. It's actually right now where I'm living at. I'm probably about 2 to 3 miles away from it. It's the most haunted place in the world. And back when I was homeless, they didn't watch it that well. They had security guards come in, but yeah, they didn't watch it very well. So I got to go in and I got to explore it. Heard of it? I wouldn't be surprised, Big Slim. I mean, it's worldwide known. It was actually for 10 years straight voted the most haunted place in the world. And I've always been into that supernatural stuff and everything else, so it didn't bother me being there. But I tell you what, I've seen some weird stuff that would blow your mind in that place. But I've also got a storage unit that's full of memorabilia. Stuff that I pulled out of that building when I was homeless that I found there in rooms that hadn't been trashed out yet. So I've got a lot of stuff. Heard of it, Austin? Yeah. I thought about getting the tattoo. I love the whole Waverly Hills thing. They're actually converting it right now, and I missed out because a friend of mine, I had some stuff that I took out of there, and he asked me if he could put it on eBay, and it sold quick. I mean, he makes mad crazy money off of it, which I'm glad he did, because he didn't have no place to go and nothing else. So I was proud of him being able to do something with him to help him out. And because I've got, like I said, I've got a storage unit probably with 4 big plastic totes full of stuff. I mean, scalpels and everything else I got out of there when I was homeless. So, I got a bunch of memorabilia from that place. But I had thought about my next tattoo for my back patch, because I had my ex-wife start a back patch for me, and I had Pinheaded from Hellraiser put on there. And the tattoo turned out to be more like Pinhead meets the Smurfs. I mean, it's god awful. And I thought about getting it covered up with the Waverly Hills Sanitarium, and then having my past family members that I've lost, having them in a black light coloring where you can't see it without a black light, have them standing in the windows looking out. I thought that would be pretty cool. I found one guy that said he can do it, and he told me I was looking at probably about 10 grand to get it all done. And so far, yeah, I haven't started on it because I don't think I'll ever be able to afford to pay 10 grand for a tattoo. I've done it on my own, so I can't see me paying 10 grand for one. Now that this top eye right here, I didn't even get to it. I got 99% of it off. I didn't make any major nicks in it or anything else. So we're gonna move on to the next one. I still gotta get the right at the very top guy. Gotta take all that off too, but we're gonna try to get some more of this stuff off real quick. Yeah, it's pretty creative. I thought it would be awesome, but I'm not gonna pay 10 grand to get a tattoo done. A buddy of mine that was doing tattoos, a real great tattoo artist, moved to Florida, unfortunately. And every time he comes down, I can't catch him because as soon as he hits Louisville, he is booked up. He is booked up for the whole time he's down here doing tattoo work. So I haven't got lucky enough because he told me $350 a sitting, and a sitting can if basically he'll tattoo for 8 hours straight for $350. And he sit down and looked at the pattern I wanted because I drew up the pattern myself. I had it all drawn up. All he had to do is stick the pattern on and tat it. And he looked at the pattern and he said, "Yeah, we can probably do this in about 4 sittings." I'm like, "Well, cool." But unfortunately, a couple months later, he moved to Florida. So we didn't even get to start on it. So I'm kind of glad I didn't. Now I'm debating on getting a blue cat tattooed on my back, a little scenery and stuff, like what's behind me on the wall, where it's water and sky. Having a blue cat under the water, fighting on a like with a bluegill in his mouth or something. Since that's my go-to bait here. We get shad, skipjack. Those are the best baits to use in the Ohio River. If you can get shad or skipjack, you've got a good bait. But I've actually had more luck. I had a friend come down and bring me that went to the falls and got some fresh skipjack, and I actually had better luck with bluegill than I have the shad or the skipjack. So skipjack is bluegill is my go-to. Right now, getting any is kind of hard to do because they're spawning, and I don't want to take them out of the water when they're spawning. If they're full of eggs, I put them back because I want to conserve my fishing spots, because if I take all the big breeders out, then there won't be none to repopulate. And I haven't had a chance to go out and catch any. I got to work on a bait tank. That's the one thing the cat cave needs. A buddy of mine was going to bring me a 55-gallon drum to use. It's a food grade drum, but I'm thinking more along the lines of I need to get a $250-gallon bait tank, something a lot bigger. And I found one, but I couldn't get out to go get it. But I'm going to fill it up with bluegill. A good friend of mine, I've been trying to get him to come on YouTube. He's a master bass fisherman. I mean, he is great. This man will go out in the backyard of his house in a puddle of water and pull out a bass. Yeah, you can't take the big breeders because the last live Austin when we was just in, them bluegill I had was only this big. And you was in the live most of the time. You saw them hits I got. You seen that blue hit, the blue rod hit, the one you won on. You seen the takedown on that, and you seen how big that head was. If I would have had some big bluegill heads, we probably would have got a lot more fish, and we would have got a lot larger fish than what we got. But I only had 15 minutes to fish at the creek. I thought about going live, not going live, but recording a video from the creek going bait fishing. It may be a problem now because I went down there. I was originally going to do that day. I appreciate it, all. I mean, thank you, buddy. I try to talk to everybody as much as I can, keep everybody in the loop. I was apologizing for my last live actually because I did it a little different than what I normally do, and I missed a lot of comments, and I missed a lot of people coming in, and I don't like doing that, so I'm going to start using the crappy camera again. Same phone, just the camera I'm using right now, instead of I'm using the front facing camera instead of rear facing camera. That way I can see y'all's comments when they pop up on the screen. Right now I've got a secondary phone right here in front of me where I can scroll down and look at the comments because my eyesight ain't as great as it used to be. I hear somebody coming outside. I wonder if they'll notice my note on the door that says live. But if it's my wife, I don't care. Is that you, baby? a second. There's my wife. I put a sign out there because I didn't want the kids coming out here beating on the door. My wife knows she's welcoming me and my wives. But I didn't want the kids and stuff coming out here beating on the doors like they always do. She got done so far. I appreciate it. Like I said, you know, I try to talk to everybody and have a conversation with everybody. I try not to leave anybody out. And I try to give everybody as much advice as I can. I honestly do. Any kind of fishing that I know anything about, which basically only fishing I know anything about is carp, gar, and catfish and bluegill. I can catch them too, but you know, if I know a trick that I think might help, I'll let you know about it. But there again, like we were talking about earlier in the stream, that things that work for my area might not work for yours. But it'd be helpful tips and stuff that y'all could try to do. I'd like to give everybody helpful tips and stuff and help out the best I can. I want to get me a whiteboard where I can draw on after I paint my refrigerator orange. And I want to get a whiteboard on here to where I can draw, you know, schematics and stuff to show y'all, you know, different patterns and stuff of the fish, different depths and everything else, different setups and techniques that I use to catch these fish that I do catch. And right now, the blues here in Kentucky are on the beds. The chances of catching a monster blue right now, or what I would call a trophy blue to me is probably 30 plus pounds. If it ain't at least 30 pounds, it's not a trophy. Unfortunately, right now, we're towards the tail end of the spawn. That's a big one. We're towards the tail end of the spawn right now. We've probably got another weekend to spawn before they all come off the beds, or at least 90% of them come off the beds. So the chances of catching a trophy like I normally do right now, it's going to be hard because everything's on the beds. But when I go out there and I actually start trophy fishing some more, because that's what I normally do, is I normally go after the trophy fish. I'll take any fish. Austin, you was in my live the other night and you saw what I was catching, the little 5 and 6 pounders. The one that you didn't see, the one that Pond River Boys actually won that. I was getting ready to talk about that too. Purple rod, right after I got off the live, the purple rod caught about a 1.5 pound flathead. Cutest little thing I ever seen. Caught it on nightcrawler. Never caught a flathead on nightcrawler. I've caught them on cut bait. I've caught them on live bait. Never caught one on a nightcrawler. And I told my wife, I said, you're lucky we don't have the aquarium no more. Because if I would have had the aquarium, I would have found a way to bring him home with me. He was adorable. Just this beautiful color. It almost looked like a camouflage. And that's my favorite thing is camouflage. You said I missed some of that. It takes time. It takes time, Austin. I mean, the gear that I've got right now, I have close to 75, 80 rods, and it's taken me years to build up on them. It honestly has. And it's taken luck. It honestly has taken me luck. If I didn't have such a great and supportive wife like I've got, I probably wouldn't have any. And that's just to be honest. She likes fishing every once in a while. She's not a diehard fisherman like me. I use it to cope with my PTSD and my stress. She'll go out with me just to go out with me to spend time together. You know, she's a great inspiration to the things I do. So I'm lucky to have that. Even though we don't see eye to eye because, you know, me spending a lot of money on rods and gear. What's up, Brad? What's up, cuz? Yeah, please do, man. Next time you're in town, please hit me up. I'd love to go out fishing with you. I would love to go out fishing with you. But yeah, what I was saying, Austin, is, you know, a lot of rods I got right now, the company I work for, when COVID hit, it was a nightmare, but a blessing at the same time. I lucked into that stuff severely because When everybody else was off work and couldn't work, they was working us double and triple overtime. My average hours was 80 hours a week. Yes, it has, Brad, bro. It's been way too long. It has been way too long. We need to get together. Where you living at right now? I'm sorry, I don't keep up with people because my brain doesn't, I can't remember numbers and addresses and stuff. So let me know where you're living at now. But yeah, I got lucky and I was working 80, 85 hours plus. So I had about 5 or 6 real good paychecks come in. I'm talking when during peak season, I had almost a month and a half. Georgia still, huh? I might need to come down and see you. I ever get one of these pieces of crap cars I got running right. I've been working on them nonstop and can't get one on the road. I got one that's ready to go on the road, but at the same time, I got to get insurance and get it transferred. But yeah, I had 4 paychecks back to back that was almost $1,800 a piece. And I looked at my wife. I said, you know what? I sold all my gear to get us this house because I had probably 65 Abu Garcias ambassadors. I sold all that to get us this house. And all I kept was, 25 cheaper rod and reels. So what I decided I was going to do is I told her, I said, Catfish Conference is coming. I'm going to pay off my credit card. And after I pay off all the bills, I'm taking me anywhere between $1,500 and $2,500 on my credit card. I'm going to make sure it's paid off, and I'm spending it at Catfish Conference. Well, because I live in Louisville, Catfish Conference was supposed to be in my backyard. Literally, it was going to be, I think, 7 miles from my house. So I was going to go down there, and then they canceled it. And then I just went online and buying stuff, and I got a bunch of good deals because Catfish Conference did get canceled, even though they did come back and do it online, and I benefited from that. But like I said, I lucked into a lot of this because I got those extra hours. I killed myself to get them, but I did get them. That sounds great, man. That sounds great, Brad. Yeah, I'd love to come down there. I need to come down there and see Kenny anyway. He's in Georgia now, so get down there and see all y'all. I was supposed to go down and see Kenny when he was in Florida. That didn't happen. But yeah, all these rods I got lucky on. I caught the Muddy River rods. I got 3. I wanted the Blue Cat rods, but I wound up getting the flathead rods because they were out of stock with the Blue Cat rods. So I wound up getting 3 of the Muddy River, the flathead rods. I got them for free shipping, which is a lot of money saved there because shipping's like $35. How's it going, Chrissy? Watching 4 different lives at once. Oh my Lord. I've done that. It's stressful. Thank you for stopping in. If you can't stay, I understand. I appreciate it. At least you stopped in and said hi. But yeah, then Whisker Seeker, they put 30 rods on sale. I got 3 of the 9.5 foot extra heavies. All I could get was the casting model. The spinning rod models. But they're normally, $75, $80 a piece. They put them on sale for $49 a piece. They said that if you spend $100 plus, they said put free shipping on it. So I went ahead and ordered 3 of them at once to where I get the free shipping, which saved me a ton of money. But most of what I've got has been, years of putting it together, man. It just takes time. Like I said, I've been doing this for 35 years. Like the rod we're working on right now is almost 35 years old. It takes time to build it up, man. Buy you one rod at a time. And but yeah, buy you one rod at a time and just take and pace yourself. Now, we'll give you a good piece of advice. I don't know how many pawn shops you got down in that area, and I don't know how bad your winters get down there. But if you have pay lakes, and if you have, colder winters where they close them pay lakes down, check your local pawn shops right around Christmas time and you will find some cheap, nice gear. Okay, the reason why I say that is, it's the Pay Lake fishermen, they buy expensive gear. They buy some of the most expensive gear out there. And around, a few months before Christmas, since the Pay Lakes are closed, they don't want to store their gear. So a lot of them pawn it. And then they lose it to the pawn shop, and then you can pick it up for dirt cheap. One of the rods we're going to be rebuilding on one of these lives is a $600 rod and reel combo I've got. I've had it for about 10 years, well, close to 10 years. Matter of fact, I'll show you that in real quick. It's one of my babies. I really don't want to paint over this and redo it because I love camouflage. That's the reason why I bought it. Yeah, you can always find good gear for cheap in pawn shops. I lucked into this one. Please nobody reach through the screen and smack me when y'all hear what I did for this and where I got it at, because you might want to. Talk about a find of a lifetime. This is one of the ones got dust off. It's got a little dust on. Give me a second now. Up, knock over. Got a little dust where I was drilling it into the wall. This is one of the ones I'm going to be redoing also. This one's going to probably take me close to 2 months to rebuild. And the reason why I say that is because I love this rod. And if I'm going to get rid of the camouflage, it's going to be with gold, purple, and green. It's going to be wicked. By the time I'm done with it, it's going to have gold guides, gold leafing, you name it, it's going to have everything. But this here, I'll get up close to you. It's a camouflage rod. It's a perler rod, 9 foot. It's all camouflage. Okay. But what makes it so nice and so great that I lucked into, you see that camouflage reel right there, that Ambassador? That's the 3501 series, the mini rocket series. I looked this reel up. Of course, it's got an aftermarket handle. It's an Abu handle. I still got the piece to put on there, but I got to drill out the hole a little bit bigger to tap it. This reel alone is $399 for the reel alone. $399 for the reel. The rod's $100. So it's a $500 rod and reel combo. I picked it up because it was camouflage. I will be honest with y'all, I did not know anything about it. I knew it had an Abu Garcia Ambassador on it. I knew it was camouflage. That's all I needed to know. Took it out with a friend one day fishing. He goes, "You know what that is?" I'm like, "No, I do not." Then he told me. And I about had a heart attack, and I stopped fishing with it right there on the spot at first. I'm like, I'm not using it no more. I paid $50 for that rod and reel. $50 at a pawn shop. And when I got it, it was like new. Now it's just like this one. All the guides are broke. The paint is faded. The clear coat and all the epoxy is dried up and flaking off. So I'm going to rebuild it all the way. I mean, I'm going to go all out with it. I had thought about originally, me and my wife was talking about, I told her an idea I had, which was to make it a fluorescent. I use to paint most of my rods fluorescent colors. I thought about getting some little catfish stickers and making a catfish camouflage pattern with orange, fluorescent orange, green, and yellow, and making a camouflage pattern. But now I'm just thinking about doing it with a deep green, like a emerald green with a lot of gold flake in it, with some gold leafing, purple and green and gold wraps around the guides, putting gold guides on it. We're going to go all out with it. I mean, it's going to be months and months of work, but in the end, it's going to be beautiful. It is going to be beautiful. And I missed a comment from Mr. Austin. I mean, yeah. It's disappearing. All right, brother, take it easy, Austin. I hope you start feeling better. I know you've been going through a lot of stuff. Yeah, Austin was one of the main winners in my last stream. He won a pack of hooks and a sticker. Matter of fact, I got a sticker out here to show y'all what they won. I dig in here and grab the hooks out, but that probably take an hour because they're buried and there's so much gear in here. But they're just size 9 team catfish double action circle hooks. But yeah, I gave away a few of my decal stickers right here on the live. Austin won one and a pack of hooks. And then also Pond River Boys. They ain't in here yet. I gotta contact them. They won the sticker one, just the stickers, but I gotta contact them and let them know that they won. I'll probably comment in one of their videos or something, let them know. But get back to pulling this off here. This is a tedious process, y'all. Like I said, on a newer rod, it probably wouldn't take half the time to do it. I do got one guide that's pretty straightforward and clear. I think if I sand it down after I hit it with the fiberglass resin, we'll be back to like new in that area, which I'm proud of. Now, if I get the rest of them that way, we will be golden. But yeah, we're gonna go epic. I think I'm gonna start doing these lives as much as I can. It's hard for me to get out and do anything with my health. I can't get out and fish like I want to. I have kids. My daughter is a high maintenance child. With her depression and PTSD, she don't like to come out of her room. So most of the time when she's here, she suffers with the PTSD, depression, and laziness, as I call it. She'll sit in her room. She'll yell out of her room, "Dad, I'm hungry." I'm like, "Well, come in here and find something to eat." And then she'll look at me and go, "Never mind." 4 hours later, she still ain't ate nothing. So I got to break down, go in there, find out what she wants and get it for her, because if she comes out of her room, she gets into panic attacks. So because of that, when she's here, I try not to do much of anything. But I do believe that I can come out here and do an hour live, 2-hour live every once a week or so on rod repair and rebuild like we're doing now. And then we're going to, like I said, we're going to get into some major customizing rods. I mean, to the point I'm probably going to take that $100 rod, and by the time I'm done with it, it's going to be $1,000 rod. It'll be worth at least $1,000 by the time I'm done with it. If the one guy that was going to sell me the one from China wants $1,800 for a rod that's in half that capacity, yeah, that's going to be at least $1,000 rod when I'm done with it. The gold guides that I'm replacing that I put on it, I just ordered them. They probably won't be here for, I'd say, about another 2 or 3 weeks. They said it was going to be, they was on back order, so it was going to take a few extra weeks. The guides alone cost me almost $45 just for the guides. And that was the cheapest ones I found. So yeah. The gold leaping that I'm putting in it, I'm probably going to use that whole pack of gold leaping I showed you earlier. That's $26 by itself. Plus all the work, I'm talking 75 hours worth of work, all the paints, the epoxies. Yeah, it's going to be about $1,000 rod when I'm done with it. But it's going to be worth it in the long run. And I've also thought about, after I start getting, I've rebuilt rods and customized rods 100 times. I've never tried anything as extravagant as the one I'm going to do with the camouflage rod with all the leaping and everything else. Once I master that, which probably just be one time doing it, I'm pretty skillful with my hands. I was a mechanic, good at some body work. I'm good with painting. I'm good with epoxies and resins. I learned how to wrap rods, and I could do some of the designs and everything else. I learned how to do that in just a few days. I'm not the best. There's a lot better people out there than me. But I have learned how to do all that fairly quick. So I'm confident in myself and my skills because my years and years of customizing things, once I master that, I thought about getting a rod, and I might actually, instead of buying a rod plank, because as I was saying earlier, buying a rod blank for catfishing, one, is almost impossible. And then if you buy a rod blank for catfishing, you're looking at $300, and it's going to be a medium heavy that might not hold up to anything. I can order a slime cat rod or a mad cat's rod, or you know, a muddy river rod, even though I wouldn't want to take one of them apart because they're just so beautiful. It would be cheaper and better off in the long run just to buy a new rod like that that's real nice, buying a new grip, new handle, buying the new guides, and just taking it down to the blank itself and doing it that way. And that way we've got a quality rod, because that's the main thing. When it boils down to it, it don't matter how good it looks. It doesn't matter how, you know, extravagant it is. If it's not going to hold up, it's not worth having. And I'd rather have a blank from something. If I had to strip a rod down to get a blank, I know a lot of people are going to frown on that. But if I got to strip a rod down to get a good blank that I can trust, that I know will hold up, I'd rather do that than spend $300-400 on a rod blank that I'm not sure is going to hold up to one fish. That's just me. I've used Muddy River rod, the flathead rods. I've seen what they can do. I've used, my buddy's got a Mad Cat rod. Another buddy's got a Slime Cat rod. I've used them all. I trust those products. I trust those products with my life. They are my go-tos. I don't own a flathead. I don't own a Mad Cat's rod, and I don't own or a Slime Cat rod. I really love to have a Mad Cat's rod. I love those rods. They're beautiful. But I have fished with them, and I do fish with the flathead rods. You know, I love them rods. I'll trust these rods with my life. And when it comes to trophy fishing, if you're going to go out there and fish, you got to have something you can trust. So if I had to sacrifice a rod like that, I would. But I thought about, if I ever do make it to 1,000 subscribers, which as slow as it's going right now, because I don't do content like I should. I don't push the issue. I don't get out here and, you know, beg people to subscribe. You know, I'll let it do its own thing the way you're supposed to do, so I can meet good, nice people worth talking to. If I ever make it to 1,000 subscribers, I've thought about giving away a custom rod, and I'm talking about an extravagant, custom-built rod that you might not even want to fish with. By the time you get done seeing it, you might be like, you know what? That's too nice to put near the water. But I thought about giving one away. We'll have to see how it works out. I can't make no guarantees. We are looking at a long way away, because I'm far, far away from 1,000 subscribers. I think I'm at 125, so we're far away from that anyway. But we got to see how it works out and how it plays. Because sometimes I get into things that are bigger than me. I'm not going to lie. I shoot for the stars, and so if I land on the moon, I'm happy. It's basically how it boils down to. You know, I might get in trying to make these extravagant rods and realize that I'm not as good as I thought I was. Well, you're going to find out, though. Stuff like this I've done 1,000 times. I'm not stressing this, but some of the stuff I'm talking about doing, I've only done maybe less than a handful of times, and I've never done it all at one time. As far as customizing rods, you know, I've done, you know, wraps, I've done paints, I've done glitter coats and stuff like that, glow in the dark colors. I mean, I've done all that, but I've never done it all at one time. So we're going to find out how that works, because I've honestly thought about when I go to do the next rod, I ordered a glow in the dark. It's an epoxy clear coat, polyurethane clear coat that glows in the dark, and it's actually clear as can be. I mean, you can spray it over white, you can spray it over any color, and you can't even hardly tell it's there, but it does glow in the dark pretty good. I thought about, since I'm going to do the rod in the green, after I get done doing everything to it, when I go to seal it with the glow in the dark, to where it looks like it's just a regular custom rod, but after being in the sun for a few hours, it will glow as soon as the sun goes down. I figured that'd help a lot of catfishermen out, because a lot of us catfishermen, especially during the summer, like we're getting ready to get into right now, when the heat's too hot to go out during the day, we do it a lot at night. And seeing your rods, a lot of times it's hard to do. So I figured a glow in the dark rod, completely from the handle up, glow in the dark, would be something great for everybody to have. But yeah, we're gonna get into some of that stuff later on in the lives. Right now, we're just chilling and doing this. I would venture to say, if anybody in here is attempting to do this, that wants to do something like this, re-wrap their eyes or their guides or anything, if you have an old rod like this, as you can tell from this live, take your time. It's going to be a long process to try to get this stuff off. If you want to prevent tearing up that rod blank, you want to take your time and expect it, have a few hours to sit down and do it. Now, what I'll probably do with this one, since we're restoring it back to the white, like I said, I really, really, really wanted to do some crazy stuff with it. My son won't let me. But since we're going to restore it back to the white, what I'll probably do, because what's the time it is? We've been on for about 2 hours now. I'll probably cut this live in a few minutes, so I can get some things done around the house. I can work on this a little bit more and everything else, and not bore y'all to death like I'm doing now. But I think on the next one, I'll come back out in a couple days, maybe a week from now. After I sand, we recoat this with the white base, and then we'll start going through and trying to re-epoxy it, put all the guides on it and everything else from there. We'll start wrapping them in the next live. That way y'all can see me wrap them, see how I do it. Like I said, I do use upholstery thread instead of the actual thread that you can buy. I found that they charge a lot more just because it says guide wrapping. Because if you look up guide wrapping thread, it'll sell you thread that's made for guide wrapping. It's a lot higher. You can find just as many colors and stronger threads, which embroidering, not embroidering, but upholstery threads. They're actually stronger, at least the ones that I've ordered, because I ordered some guide wrap thread made for wrapping guides. And the upholstery thread seems to be stronger, a couple pounds stronger than that is. Same diameter. And we all know upholstery gets abused. They use the same kind of thread in cars and to sew the seats and stuff together. And you know how much abuse that gets. So I've been using the upholstery threads for about 10 years now before I could find the guide wrapping thread. And I've never had one fail on me yet. So that's going to be my go-to. And I just so happen to have a ton of it around. So we're going to wrap up with it. But yeah, we're going to wrap it. We're going to probably do we're going to go back with like I said, probably a chrome instead of a gold trim. Be red, chrome, and black when we go to rewrap it. I do have some metallic threads, so I might use a red metallic, a black metallic, and then the chrome, just to give it a little bit better look, since this rod does mean a lot to me. But I'll still be keeping with what my son asked for. He wanted the same color, so I can still put some some kind of spin on it to make it look better. I can heat this up a little more. See what's come off. Still got 3 in here. That's great. Don't know who all's in here, but thank y'all for staying. I know I'm boring as can be sometimes. And I know I talk a lot. That's just my hyperness. Me and Tim both have that problem. Tim from Epic Catfishing, we both have that problem. We can talk for days, especially when it comes to fishing. So I was joking around last night in Lucifer Stream. Everybody was talking about they went fishing with Tim. I said I'd have to have a defibrillator because mine and his hyperness together and both our passions about fishing together, my heart would probably explode. Too much knowledge in one boat. I can promise you that now. Well, thank you, Carpet. And I do believe I'm subscribed to you, Carpet. I'm not sure. I will double check. I'm 90% sure I am. If not, I will be when I get off here tonight. Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine, Chrissy. Been there, done that. I love my kids more than anything. And that's actually how I missed my anniversary. I'm not going to lie. I was talking about my last live. Me and my wife both missed our anniversary. Our anniversary was June 10th, 13 years. But my ex-stepdaughter, she's had a rough life, a very rough life. Her family spends no time with her. I mean, she's 20 now, so she's not a kid, but she's 20 now. But she hasn't. The last birthday party she's had in her life was about 10 years ago, 11 years ago. No, actually, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Thank you, Chrissy. Her last birthday was 14 years ago when me and her mother was together. That was the last birthday party she had. Hey, Tim, thank you for stopping by, brother. We just sitting there talking about you a few seconds ago. But yeah, I missed my anniversary. She missed it and forgot it because ours was on the 10th. My ex-stepdaughter, my ex-stepdaughter, her birthday's on the 10th. And my daughter asked, could she come over for her birthday? And I looked at my wife and I said, you know what? I love that child like she's one of mine. I took care of her for 5 years. We need to throw her a party. She hasn't had a party in 14 years. She's having a party today. So we went and picked her up. We forgot it was our anniversary. I went out and bought, my daughter, my stepdaughter, a cake, gave her a bunch of Bath and Body Works stuff. We didn't get much together, but she had a pretty decent little haul. She left out of here with, 4 body lotions, a candle, quite a bit of stuff from Bath and Body Works, some makeup. Like I said, we did a cake. I waited till she went in the other room. I set up the tripod, the camera, brought out the cake, put the present on the table. I made everybody in the house, and there's 10 of us in the house, made everybody come in and stand there and wish her a happy birthday. And she come around the corner to walk in the kitchen. She goes, why is everybody staring at me? And then she looked down and seen the cake and stuff. She almost cried because she hasn't had a birthday party in 14 years. So like I told my wife, I said, if we missed our anniversary to do something like that special, it's worth it. At least there was a reason for it, So, yeah. I know how it is having kids. Oh, you love the rod backdrop, Tim? Actually, check out my my other video. It's called the Cat Cave. Yeah, I've got all my rods back there. Matter of fact, I got to pick up my Pro Cat rod. It just fell and hit the floor. That's all good, though, because I got to rebuild that one, too. That's what I'm out here doing is rebuilding rods. So, yes. This was my go-to rod for the longest time, but unfortunately, the top guide snapped. I got to put a new one on there. And I ordered one for it, but it's just gonna take a while. Go on there, buddy. Actually, I do, Tim. I mean, sometimes I think I scare you off when you come in because you are one of my idols when it comes to fishing. Because you're one of the only fishermen that's out there that's been passionate about it as long as I have. I started catfishing seriously like 35 years, 40 years ago is when I got into it heavily. Back then, they didn't even have catfish rods. If you wanted a rod strong enough to hook into a trophy catfish, you had to buy saltwater gear. There was no other way around it. I even ordered, had to order stuff, and they didn't even have online. I had to call people on the phone to order gear and pay with a credit card over the phone back in the day to get gear. I'm not sure, Tim. I'll have to check. But yeah, I've actually got VHS tapes of some of your seminars because back when I started years and years ago, no one catfished. It was taboo. If you was not bass fishing, you was not fishing. You had Bill Dance and a bunch of the other ones. I can't think of anybody right offhand because my brain ain't here no more. All these medications and the problems, medical problems I'm going through. But yeah, you had Bill Dance and all of them out there. And if you wasn't bass fishing, they didn't want to hear about it. I've always been a passionate cat fisherman, and Tim Scott's been the holy grail of catfishing since it started. To me, as far as I'm concerned, he is the reason why catfishing is a sport. And a lot of older folks, just like me, that grew up watching him on seminars and stuff like that, that learned what we learned to this day and know what we know. And we always will look at him as the godfather of catfishing. And that's why I'm surprised his channel hasn't hit 100,000, 200,000 subs in the first month. But then I think about it, I lost 20 people alone in 2020. At least 20 people passed away that I knew. So a lot of us old folk ain't around no more. So the younger generation's just now learning who he is. Once they see what he can do and who he is, yeah, he's going to blow up quick. Oh no, I'm honored. I'm honored, Tim. When you first come into my live the other day, it was a giddy moment. It honestly was, because I don't get starstruck. I've met so many celebrities in my lifetime that I've hung out with some. I sit out and drink in the parking lot with a rapper by the name of Lil White. I spent the whole day out there with him. I've met every musician. I've met movie stars, and I talk to them like they're just my next door neighbors. They're just somebody out there. They're not anything special. They're just a normal freaking person. I don't get giddy around them or nothing else. But yeah, I actually had a giddy moment that for a second there. Because when you look up to somebody for 30 plus years, and then they actually come into your stream the first time, you get a little giddy. It's you can't believe it's happening moment. So yeah, I was very, very happy and excited. But yeah, I appreciate everything you ever done, Tim. I honestly have. Uh, I'm not, I hope to one day be as good of a fisherman as you. I don't see it happening. I've caught some monsters. I've done my share of catching monsters, and I've done my homework. I'm missing some comments here. But yeah, I mean, Yeah, Sean was out there a lot too. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things to where, you know, the legends like you and I consider Steve Douglas a legend. Um, he's a legend also. A lot of the legends don't get the respect that they deserve. I live here in Kentucky. Give me a second, y'all. I got listen to my wife's calling, so it must be an emergency because she wouldn't call when I'm not live. Hello. 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 Yeah, won't let me answer it. What the heck? Call her back real quick. My tape's stretching over here. Give me just a second, y'all. I don't like interfering with the stream and all, but she was just out here, so if it ain't important, she wouldn't call. Uh, yeah, I guess get me something. I don't care what you pick me up. Yeah. All right, that'll work, buddy. I'll let you too. But see, it was important. She knows I'm out here sweating in the heat working on these rods and was going to go out and pick up some food for us. So I don't have to cook. That's awesome. Gotta love when you ain't got to cook because I do all the cooking and 90% of the cleaning around here because she's disabled. All righty, let me see where we's at. I think I'm probably missing comments. Where's my live chat at? Uh-oh. There we go. Yeah. Uh, I was hoping I'm meeting a lot of people this year, Kim. I live right here in Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm literally, I'd say, less than 8 miles, probably about 6 or 7 miles away from where they was going to have Catfish Conference. So I was really excited about that this year. Normally, I don't get to go to events like that uh, because my wife's disabled. I got children. I got a lot of responsibilities, like all of us do. Um, so I don't get to go to events like that. Money's usually too tight. I actually had $2,500 saved up to buy me some gear this year. Was excited. I had been talking to Palmetto Cats and a few other people, Steve Douglas. I was going to get to meet my idols, and the people that I believe has done so much for the catfish community. Chris Flores, Steve Douglas. I was going to get to meet all of them, and I was so stoked. And then they canceled it at the last minute because of COVID. And then they wound up going live, doing it live, but I had already spent most of my money online. I went ahead and ordered a bunch of stuff right before the conference hit. That way I can go ahead and get some pre-conference deals while other people were selling them. So it is what it is. Yeah, if it was only 100 and so signature rods, I doubt I've got one. I'll have to check and see if it is. I mean, even if it's not one of your signature series, which I hope it is, but I doubt it. Even if it is, or if it's not, to me, I'm not getting rid of it. I'll keep that thing the rest of my life, or until I can't keep it anymore. I used that rod religiously for about a year and a half. That was my go-to rod. I'll be down this year. I will be down this year no matter what. I told my wife, I said, you know what? With me not working right now, because of my health, if I'm not working, if I have to stay on my disability or whatever, because I'm right now I was supposed to be on short-term disability, I'm still going to Catfish Conference. If I've got to sell my motorcycle, which I don't want to do, I'm going to Catfish Conference this year. For sure, I'm not missing it. I wanted to do a giveaway. This year was my first year doing YouTube, and my first year of catfish conference. White with blue handle cork. I'm gonna have to check, Tim. I still got about 20 rods I've got to put up in the rafters, that are in the rafters. I've got to pull down and check. Put on my wall. I've actually got to make more space for it. It's like this one right here. I don't know if you caught any of what was going on. You see me scraping away at this rod. I didn't even say anything to you about it. This is an original, and I mean an original. I got to build me a rod wrapper. This is an original ugly stick, the saltwater version. This belonged to my mother before she passed away. It was bought in Florida. 6.5 foot saltwater version ugly stick. One of the original solid fiberglass rods. Basically built for bull shark and marlin and stuff like that. All the guides broke off of it. It's 35 years old. All the coating, the fiberglass, not fiberglass, but the resin coatings and everything else come off of it. All the guides was twisted and broke. I mean, I've never seen guides this bad in my life. This is what's left of one of the guides. It's twisted to no end. I gave the rod to my son because I wanted him to have something of his grandmother's, and I wanted to customize it to the max. And he's like, can you just make it like new? Same colors and everything else. And I respect that because it did belong to, it's pure fiberglass. Pure. I mean, it's solid. It's not hollow in one spot. It's an awesome rod. But yeah, he's like, just make it back to the original. And I have found, because I've done many rod repairs before and customizations, I have found that when you get into an old rod like this, it does not come off as easy as it does on the newer rods. I knew it wouldn't, but this stuff was built to last 35 years and it still ain't coming off. And I'm taking my time with it. I don't want to tear up the blank because I want to restore it. Really? Yeah. Then you know what I'm talking about when you talk about a rod. I can easily, if I was to hook into one, if I can ever get on a boat and get out there in my spot. Oh yeah, this is probably 35 years old, Tim. I'm 49 years old. No, it's probably about 30 years. I'm 49 now. The last time I went to Florida, which was the time when my mom built this one, I was 16. So yeah, she bought this when I was 16 years old. I'm 49 now. So that'll tell you how old this rod is. And it's landed more fish than any other rod I own. It's been through more. It's been to Myrtle Beach. It's been to Florida. It's been to Georgia, Alabama. It's seen a little bit of everything. Not with me, unfortunately. You know, I don't leave Kentucky that often. But, you know, all right. Actually, y'all, I'm probably going to cut this stream off. My brother-in-law showed up. He was going to come up and pick up the tiller and everything else from me. Kind of guides that you would have on the Whisker Seekers. I think the Muddy River Flathead rods have the same guides. They're the heavy-duty guides. I don't know if y'all can see that real well. Yeah, that's the ones I'm going to put on there. This rod originally only come with 4 guides, including the top guide, the eye guide. I'm going to try to see if I can reposition it and put 5 on it. I'm not sure because I've got 4 in here and I just put a brand new top guide on it a few months back since I finally found a guide big enough to fit it. That's strong enough to hold up to it. But that's what I'm going to start doing, y'all. I'm going to start going in lives a couple hours a week if possible. And doing lives on rod rebuilds and customization. I've got a lot of rods to do. My brother-in-law, the one that just walked in, I was talking about his rod a minute ago. This rod is also about 30 years old. This is the rod that I was telling y'all that story about that guard that almost pulled him in. I was going to rebuild this one completely because it has seen better days, as you can see with the chunks taken out of it. This is some kind of graphic I forgot what they call the compost of it. I can't even talk because it's aluminum and fiberglass mixture. But yeah, it's seen better days. I try to order new guides for this rod, and everybody I contacted laughed at me because if you see how big that guide is compared to my finger, they don't make them that big no more. So I can't get new guides for it. Luckily, all these guides are in good shape except for the inserts. A few of the inserts are coming loose. So I'm going to take them out, redo them and epoxy them. So we're going to rebuild this rod. We're going to rewrap the ugly stick rod. And then also, for the people that just come in, my baby right here, this was my find of a lifetime. I picked this rod up. It's a $500 rod and reel combo. Anybody that knows anything about that, boo. This is the camouflage limited edition rare camouflage 6501 CS series, the mini rocket series. The rod was a old Prowler rod, which when it was originally built, it was all camouflaged. The rod and reel was camouflaged. When it was originally built, the rod alone was the reel alone was $3.99. So I got lucky. I paid $50 for this rod and reel combo at a pawn shop. But as you can see, many fish later, the guides are broken loose. I'm missing a guide right here. It's totally gone. I mean, there is no guide whatsoever on that. It's just totally gone. So I ordered some gold guides for this, some expensive guides. I'm talking, I think I paid $40 for the guides, and that was the cheapest set I could find. They're all gold. We're going to strip this all down. I'll probably do this in one of my next lives. We're going to strip this all down. I'm going to redo this rod. We're not going to make it camouflage. I love camouflage. I don't want to change it. But we're going to keep it, we're going to paint it like a metallic. We're going to make it a metallic green with heavy flake. I'm putting gold leafing in it. We're going to have purple and green rod wraps on the guides. And everything. It's going to be beautiful. By the time I'm done with it, it's going to be immaculate. I might not want to fish with it, but I will anyway. But yeah, that's what we was doing with all this stuff. And also another thing too, y'all, the ones that didn't come in. My last live, I had these rods out. The blue one was the one that kept on getting all the bites. It stopped working. I was going to show y'all how I wrap this. I mean, there's other videos showing how to wrap these with this eel wire. But yeah, somehow it stopped working the other day. And at the end of the live, I shut down the live. I got a massive takedown. I'm talking a massive takedown. And I grabbed the rod in the center, and I thought I pulled one of the wires loose and broke it. So I was going to take it back apart on camera for y'all. That's the original reason why I was going to go on the live stream tonight. I was going to take it apart and show y'all how I wired it up. And then I picked it up today, and it started working again. So I don't know if I just got moisture in it or what happened to it, but now it's working again, so we didn't have to mess with that. I got to put it back on the wall now that it's working again. But I'm going to go ahead and get off here. All right, Tim, thank you for stopping in. I'm going to go ahead and get off here. My brother-in-law had to pick up a few things. I told him I'd help him with some things. He just showed up. So I'm going to go ahead and get off here for now. I appreciate everybody coming in that did come in. We'll get back to this rod. Yes, snare. Loose for that was man, that fish was beautiful. It was beautiful. We was so upset. We was all screaming when the camera cut out right as you got him up to the bank. I know I could hear people scream from other states. No! So we're just glad to see you land that beast, man. We are. And I wouldn't be cutting this off when I am, but like I said, I promised my brother-in-law I'd help him do some things. So I'm gonna go ahead and get off here, y'all, and I'll catch you on the next one. I might go live again in the next couple days. I'm gonna finish stripping this off tonight. We're gonna get the white base back on it because that's what my son wants, the white base. Instead of customizing this into the max, all I'm gonna do is take it back to new settings. But I want to have y'all in here with me for people that don't know how to do this stuff. I want to be able to walk them through it, give them a little help. So we're going to do that. And I appreciate everybody for coming in. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace out.